Hi, my name's Toby. Welcome to Genki Clinic. In this video, I'm going to give you some background to a technique that I want to share with you for really working on your neck, trying to improve flexibility both rotationally like this and in the up and down, forward and back like that. If you've got any tightness, achiness, discomfort in your neck, these very simple techniques can really help out and probably clear it up completely for you. In this video, I'm going to go through some background information and some information about the towel as well to make sure that you choose something that makes sense for this technique. It's pretty important, so please do watch. I'm trying to give you the information that you need to really understand the technique so you can get the feeling for what you're trying to do and get the most out of it. It's worth giving you a little bit of background so you understand what we're doing. You've got 7 vertebrae coming from pretty much the level of your shoulders, and the final one just underneath the skull here. They're all involved in the rotation and the movement of the neck, but most of the movement is actually focused right at the very top in the first 2 vertebrae. The very first vertebra under the skull is called the atlas. That one is named after Atlas holding up the heavens or holding up the earth. And essentially, if you think about it, the idea is that you've got the vertebral column like this, and then this one, the hand, would represent the atlas vertebra, actually holding your skull on top of it like that. That one, it pretty much provides the motion going forwards and backwards, so this nodding motion like that, forwards and backwards. So of course the other vertebrae are involved, but that's where you get the lion's share of the movement. The second vertebra down, that one's called the axis, and yep, as you can imagine, it's to do with the rotational aspect left and right like this of the head. Yeah, again, all the other vertebrae are involved to a degree, but that's where you get most of the rotation from. What that means is that with any technique which looks at the rotation and tightnesses and things that are appearing in your neck, we really need to ensure that we can get a little bit of focus up in those top vertebra areas. To take it further than just being pain-free, but actually to have really good function and the ability for your brain and your body to communicate as effectively as possible, we want a head that feels more like it's kind of floating on top of our shoulders. I like this idea of the floating head. Maybe we could use the image of a hot air balloon which has got enough hot air inside it now that it's actually floating and just about trying to lift itself off slightly from the ground, and it's just tethered down very lightly by ropes onto the ground, in our case with the neck, just by the muscles at the front and the neck and the back of the neck. Another image that I quite like to convey this idea of floating, and this is maybe a little bit more accurate with the idea of actually the head being rested on the top of the axis and the atlas bones that we discussed earlier, but being very relaxed and floating around like this, is that of the Churchill Insurance dog. If you live in England, you've probably seen this. The dog's head is very simply balanced and just shifts around like this. It can move into a forward nodding type position, it can go to the side, anything like that. The technique I want to share with you here is very simple, but it is a skill and it takes a little bit of time to really get a feeling for it. There are many resources out there, very good resources out there, which will give you good advice about giving you shoulder flexibility, neck flexibility, what have you. What I want to transmit particularly is the feeling portion of any of these exercises. If you can get that bit, actually you can make use of pretty much any technique and very quickly get a sense of whether that technique is useful in your case. Then you'll have picked up something really valuable that you can apply not only with this little technique, but with any technique. Okay, let's have a look at the towel. The reason we want to use a towel rather than any other piece of material or maybe a band is maybe 2 or 3 reasons. Let's have a quick look. First reason is that the towel provides a certain amount of sponginess. When we do anything in terms of working in the neck, then we want to come in very softly and to prevent there being too much force on one specific little location. Our necks, as a general rule, get quite tight, partly because our bodies are used to tightening and pulling in the muscles in order to protect the joint and the spinal cord inside. So when we come in with any kind of stimulus, and essentially we're going to see this as a type of massage tool, we want there to be a little bit of give in the tool, and for there to be a little bit of sponginess so that where it pushes in is not focused on one point, but is a little bit spread out. A big thick bath towel is not going to do it. That's going to provide, once you've wrapped it up in a similar way to this, it's going to be maybe double like that. It starts to get a little bit difficult to get into the kind of angles that we're looking for. So something like this, which is a little bit thin, and the closest I could find was actually called a sweat towel. I guess people are using it in the gym to wipe sweat or what have you. This one's about 110 centimeters in length, which makes it about long enough for the techniques which I'm going to show you. The second reason that makes the towel so useful is that it's got a certain amount of friction available. We're actually going to make use of the friction that the toweling provides to be able to kind of catch onto the skin a little bit, and you'll see what I mean as we go through the techniques. That can be very useful. Okay, that's it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. In the next video, I'm going to be going through how to ensure that we get the correct neck position for this technique and the feeling for that. That's like the foundation of this whole technique, and will ensure that you can use the towel to come in safely and effectively. See you there.